All right, Jeffrey, in the last 1 hour when I spoke with you, we noticed that some NGOs have come in here to donate some food items to survivors who have visited the counseling tent, to explain their cases. And I did report to you that there's a team of counselors around here who are taking note of what people are going through after the building that collapsed here at Itafaji on Massey Street. So right now I am being joined by a neuropsychiatrist who is also a consultant. I'm joined by Memuna Kadiri, who is going to tell us the kind of cases that they've so far heard since they started this counseling thing. So let's hear from her. Memuna, you are a counselor, you are a neuropsychiatrist. Can you tell us the kind of cases that you've so far listened to since people have visited this tent for guidance?
Yeah, so since yesterday we've been on ground, and we had a physical meeting on Monday to strategize on what we want to do, because we are a coalition of NGOs and professional bodies. And since that yesterday, we've been able to see survivors, some of the pupils, some of the teachers, and of course the community members. And we've been getting feedback from people that said they have not really slept well since the incident. We've also spoken to some teachers. Like for today, we even saw a teacher who said she's already having nightmares. She's always very fearful. The mom also attested to it that she's always having a lot of nightmares and calling her middle of the night. And even during the day, she doesn't even want to go out. So we've already started seeing people that are having what we call symptoms of what we make in medicine as post-traumatic stress disorder. But in this phase now, they've been having what we call acute stress reaction, adjustment issues, and the children too, that though they are bruised and they are healing, but they are telling us they don't even want to go to school. They don't want to hear anything regarding school. One of the children said, no, my school was bombed. I'm not going back to school anymore. So these are the things we are sensitizing the community about. Yesterday we started a jingles with the health educator group that we have, going from house to house and enlightening them on where they should go to when they notice XYZ symptoms, and of course to the Massey Hospital, where the medical director is also giving us space that we can come regularly to come and review these survivors, their relatives, and the community members.
Okay, what then is really necessary for these people to stabilize? I know this is going to a week now since this incident happened, particularly looking at the health aspect of their stabilization.
So when it comes to health, I like the fact that you narrowed it down to health. Most important thing is to make sure that they don't go into crisis. So you want to make sure that their physical health is stabilized. So for those that had injuries, wounds, fractures, those kind of people, you make sure they are stabilized. But we mustn't neglect their emotional well-being, and that's why we came in to make sure that now some of them are back home, some of them are grieving, some of them are still recuperating. But let's also make sure in their pathway to healing, their emotional well-being is incorporated.
I did notice that you and your group took care of a 10-year-old boy who was taken to Massey Hospital earlier today. Can you tell us the involvement? Is the government also in collaboration with this, or you're just doing it on your own?
Yeah, the government. So when we came together, and on Monday we had a meeting with the MD of Massey General Hospital, the Permanent Secretary Ministry of Health reached out to us and told us that they appreciate what we are doing and they want to know what we really want to do with the group. So we told her that what we plan to do with the group is not just for the Tafaji community. We want to be able to be sustainable. So we want to make this coalition work so that for any reason we have any form of disaster, man-made or natural, that we can be able to reach out and help them in their pathway to healing, especially in their psychosocial. So the group has three major subgroups: social, faith-based, health educators, and then the psychological intervention. For the little boy we saw this afternoon, when he came with an investigation letter that he needed to do a CT scan. So we saw him, we saw the grandma, because the boy has already lost his mom 2 years back. So he lives with his grandma. And so we took him to the MD of Massey General Hospital, who immediately commented on it, told the medical officer to take him to the clinic, and then of course they already seen him, and they will notice that the mama had a deep wound, but because she's so involved in looking after her grandson, she has neglected herself, and we are scared that may lead to tetanus. So the grandma too is already also being taken care of, anti-tetanus also given to her, antibiotics. So it's a well-rounded to the government. They are involved.
Thank you very much, Maimuna, for your notes there. All right. It may interest you to know that a lot of stories have been said about this collapsed building, and we've heard different angles of this story. But I have with me one of the teachers who was affected. In fact, when he spoke with me earlier, he said he was on the second floor of the building when the building caved in. I'm here with Abdul Hakim. Abdul Hakim, you were a teacher with the school that collapsed. Can you tell us your experience?
Actually, I'm a teacher in the school that collapsed there. My name is Abdul Hakim Maruf. I was not really at upstairs before. I was coming from downstairs. I've reached the second floor of the building. Suddenly I saw the building collapse on us, covered. I was covered with rubble. All over my body was covered with rubble. Actually, everywhere looked dark. I don't really know what's happening. I thought it was just a miracle or something I don't know about.
So, was there at any point in time the school suspected that the structure was not strong enough to continue?
It was around 2 years ago that they renovated the building. Actually, the owner of the building renovated the building 2 years ago, and we continued the school after that.
But we understand that this particular building has been marked about four times now. Was the school aware?
I thought the school is aware of that. I just joined the school probably last year. I think the owner of the school will be aware of the school being marked.
Thank you very much, Abdul Hakim. So, from the collapsed building site, we're still having more and more people come to say what they know. And of course, with the teacher we've just spoken with, I think that is authoritative enough to tell us how the building collapsed. The counselors are all on ground taking care of the survivors who are coming to see them for the different cases. It's back to you, Jeffrey.